Welcome. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? You're on the Swivel at the Sportsbar. We are open for business. When you come to the channel, if you stay for a little while, you stay for a long time, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to come talk sports, just let me know. If I know who you are, I'll let you up. If I don't, I'm going to have to need to see you. But anyway, just hit the like button. And as I go through these, what I have in store for you today, for the show, you can put some in the chat if you want to chit chat about some of the things. If you want to come up and we want to talk, we can chit chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna just go through the events that I've streamlined for this particular day, and we can just share my thoughts. And if you come, you can look at this on replay, and this way you can take your time with it. And even with that, the comments will still be on, so you can put comments in there. But hit that like button, hit the like button. I'd appreciate anybody who watches this, even for a little bit. Hit the like button going in, or hit the like button coming out. Anyway, so here's my little disclaimer, because I use videos, and it's all fair use. And, so it's just straightforward. I just thought I'd put this in the beginning and the end of my presentation on the Sports Talk today. This is my 26th episode, so I'm pretty proud of that. I have no breaks every week. I'm here every week at 7. So welcome aboard. So I always start with the UFL. Now, listen, I'm a big NFL fan. And until the UFL, which is a merger of the XFL and the USFL, came along, I really never have any high hopes for these leagues everlasting long. It seems to me that, they come and they go, people get bored. But the UFL, this merging of those two fledgling leagues, seems like it has a little bit of backing. It seems like it's a stronger G League to the NFL. It's got some TV revenues. It's got some players who we actually know from the pros. They got some guys auditioning for a step up later on. And, some of the sports looks pretty exciting, So we're in week 9. And, so here's some of the scores. You can look at the scores. And I'm going to just go ahead and play a few of the highlights just for the hell of it. And so you can see, it's football. It's spring and summertime football. But you know what? Let's go.
With a 50-yard run back. They go for 1 from the 2, and they drop it. And that is intercepted.
She's going to go all the way?
Kennedy streaking all the way downfield.
That's a huge. That's a huge interception.
In the UFL.
And it should be a penalty.
For St. Louis. Second trip to the red zone today. They're 1 for 1. Tom will step into the pocket, throws for the end zone, and it's caught a touchdown. Alex Ellis with the touchdown glance
from him before. Really strong hands. He understands he needs to keep that ball extended.
Perez, sideline. Contested catch, Isaiah Winstead. 27 yards out. Being a coach, throw it to me, I'll make it happen. Missed jam by Chris Payton-Jones. You saw that missed reroute. That's how you get behind the defender, and then eyes focus on that ball.
Or down to a receiver.
4th down and 2. Tamu. Complete first down. Rolling. Turns on the Jets. He's got.
If for nothing else, just watching some of these highlights will get you in the mood for the real thing coming up, man. So we're months away from the real thing, of course, but So, it's good looking at some of this stuff. All right, so here's the league. Birmingham finally lost the game. Okay, so they were 8-0. They're 8-1 now, but they're still light years. Well, not even light years. They got a couple of teams, so the competition to win the championship should be very interesting. I mean, they eliminated the bottom 4 teams, both 2 in each league. I think they have a couple more games left, and then we'll get into the playoffs. And then, maybe the championship games might be worth watching. Who knows? I think so. All right. So, a little NFL, off-season NFL talk. I just want to cover the gambit, So, if you haven't heard, Antonio Brown, has hit rock bottom, right? Essentially, he's hit rock bottom. He's been at rock bottom for a very long time. And one of the things I have problems with this whole situation is, and nobody really wants to say it, especially the NFL, that he's the way he is because of that perfect hit. Right? He was on his way to a surefire NFL Hall of Fame, right? And when he took that hit that put him down, he never, ever recovered. He got brain damage during that hit. Perfect probably got, I think, a suspension. But the truth of the matter is, Antonio Brown is the way he is expressly because of that hit, and everybody knows it. And listen, and the NFL didn't want to acknowledge that. No studies were done, nothing to say that, you know what, that was a debilitating, that was as bad as blowing out a knee, worse than blowing out a knee that you could never recover from. It was somewhere in between that and the Darryl Stingley hit from years ago by Jack Tatum. That left him crippled and paralyzed and out of the league. And you think the NFL took care of him? No, absolutely not. So I tell you, it's best to my knowledge. Let me put it to you that way. So let me just hear a little bit of what whether you like Dan Le Batard or not. He's going to go straight to the point. But again, there's no sympathy for Antonio Brown.
Guys, I want to ask you about a person in sports who's going to engender very little sympathy, very little compassion. The last few years of this person's public life have seemed to be a real disintegration. Antonio Brown went from the best receiver in football to somebody who took a hit in a game that years from now, when we go through science, we're going to be able to pinpoint, oh, that's what exacerbated CTE. Right.
He's talking about that perfect hit.
Public meltdown has been something that seems like it could be tied to football fairly easily and fairly overtly to not excuse any of what it is that he's done. But we're going to know more about it in years. And today, he declared for bankruptcy. Yesterday, he declared for bankruptcy. And it actually hurt me on his behalf because of what life's going to be now when you've grown used to having all of the money and power in the world. And now you enter a phase of your life where you're not going to be able to recoup that anywhere. And your reputation is in tatters. And you don't seem mentally stable in any way. And I don't think there's going to be very much compassion for Antonio Brown. But having known that his story began in Miami, homeless, this is not a place to not have a home.
And see, now he said a lot there. And it might behoove everybody to go and check out that Dan Le Batard full clip, because the truth of the matter is, now that he's unable to garner that kind of income, now he'll be unable to, plus with the mental illness that he has, it's not far-fetched that he's going to be on the street in the next 5 years, if not less. If not less. And it's sad. And listen, and he's right. Since he burned so many bridges, even if he wasn't his mental capacity wasn't there to actually discern the destruction that he was doing. You know, there's going to be very little people who have compassion for him, right? Because at the point when he had money, a lot of people were just envious of the fact that God gave him a gift that he squandered, even though that injury is the thing that helped him do it. But, you know, at some point, since all of us aren't doctors and we can't prove a 100% correlation, you know, he didn't garner enough sympathy even for just a hit, right? Because I think Perfect should have got kicked out of the league, not just suspended for a game or two. You know, he should have got kicked out of the league. It was deliberate. It looked like he was trying to actually, you know, delete him, you know, to tell you the truth. That's how bad that hit was. So, you know, so that damn Avatar opening line has said a lot. It says a lot. All right, so going on with some notable signings, right? It's not much. Drake May, you know, signed his 4-year rookie contract. Look how much money he gets. 4-year deal worth $36 million, fully guaranteed, including a $23.4 million signing bonus. And, you know, plus the standard 5th-year option. If they like you, that 5th-year option will be a tremendous raise. Especially, I can't imagine how much a 5th-year quarterback, if they want you as a franchise quarterback, then we're talking about him making maybe $50 million a year. He's just got to be good. He's just got to be somebody to see a future with. And if he's not, you better be able to live off of $36 million, even if he only takes home 12 or 15 after it's all said and done. You know, that's enough to start some good shit with. Of course, a bigger name than his is Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a one junior people think that's going to outdo his father. Just like, well, not the one junior. There's a lot of juniors. Ken Griffey Jr. outdid his father. Barry Bonds Jr. outdid his father. They say that Morrison Harrison Jr. has the potential to be as good or better than his Hall of Fame father. Can you imagine that? You know, so he signed a nice, he's a wide receiver. 4 years, just like a quarterback, $35 million. 22 guaranteed with a 5th-year option as a wide receiver. That's how high they are on this board. And then, of course, there's some other Nico Collins, who's been in the league for a while. It's a 3-year contract extension worth $72.5 million. They didn't go into how much of it is guaranteed, but you know what? Whatever it is, he's not on the breadline. How about that? All right, so let's just skip over to what's going on right now. NBA talk. You know, my fellas ain't up today. You know, it was one of those weeks when people were busy and stuff. So I said, well, this is my show. And I'm like, so going solo ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to share the mic. I can just keep rattling off at the jibs. Rattling off. You know, I'm trying to get one of my cousins to come up one of these days because he likes talking basketball. And then he would be right in his wheelhouse if he was around. So listen, if anybody's in the chat, the back chat there, or anything, just make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button. If you want to come up, you know, what I'll do is I could drop the link and we could come up and we could just shoot the breeze. All right, so here's the current standings. Boston is waiting for the winner of the Mavs Wolves series. Let me tell you, wouldn't it be something if the Timberwolves found a way to get this to Game 7? Now, nobody's predicting that, but they're going back home because they won that game in Boston. So, not Boston, in Dallas. So they got a chance to at least, you know, get it to Game 6. Because when they get back home, they better not lose that game. You know, they played a good game. Finally, Cat showed up in the clutch, and it wasn't only on a young boy, you know, so he finally showed up on the clutch. And so, listen, let's keep this series alive. I want them to win game 5. I really want them to win game 5. Because if they win game 5, then the intrigue will start to build, right? Dallas is going to have an air of desperation because they know they're not going to want to go back to Minnesota, right? So let's make that happen. Get your act together. T-Wolves, I know you guys are young. You're going up against 2 potential Hall of Famers. Definitely Kyrie Irving's a Hall of Famer. And you know what? Luka's he's got Hall of Fame written all over him already as well. And the boy can shoot. And you know what? His shot is specific from the top of the key. When he shoots that ball in the top of the key and any other radius around the top of the key in that 3-point line, and he's hitting that shot. He's hitting that shot. And I think I'm so surprised that it's so hard for them to defend it. It's not like he's the quickest man in the world, right? So there's something about his size and the way he protects the ball when he shoots that people it just seems like he's like, I don't want to say he's unguardable because that's not true. It's just that it seems like people just don't have the right style to give him the kind of fits that they should. Right, so the league should catch up with him a little bit because, I mean, if you don't know his game by now, you ain't studying tape. At least I don't think so. I think but the boy is bad, man. He is. So we gotta give it to him. Him and Kyrie Irving, when they first got together, there was friction, but they're operating like a well-oiled machine right now. So I wouldn't mind seeing them playing. To tell you the truth, I think they would make a better series with Boston than Minnesota would. I really do. Matter of fact, they might call that a toss-up. Anyway, so this was the last game. I was going to show some highlights, but we don't need to see them. You know what happened. I think at one point, Cat in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, he hit 3 threes. And it actually they never trailed after that. So at least he finally showed up. God damn, that's how he said it, guy. I mean, you'll get that if you saw his press conference. He sounded real funny when he did that. Anyway, so what's next? I got a couple of things. We have to say a fair goodwill to Bill Walton. He passed away yesterday, I believe, or the day before. And, he was a great, great, great player. And it seemed like he was universally liked. So I'm going to play a little bit of his, of Bill Walton for everybody. And here goes.
I've never coached a better player. I've never coached a better competitor. And I've never coached a better person than Bill Walton.
Growing up, I was very shy, very reserved. Basketball was a sanctuary. It became my religion. And the gym was my church.
Bill Walton took his devotion to basketball to UCLA and led the Bruins to 2 national titles. He became a college basketball legend and the prize pick of the NBA.
No, that was goaltending big time with that one. There's no doubt.
In Portland, the first draft choice was Tails.
Walton instantly revitalized the struggling Portland Trailblazers and showed the game's top centers that he was a force to be reckoned with.
Bill Walton loved the game of basketball. He was the essence of team play. He was a fierce competitor who wanted to win and would do whatever he had to do to win. First of all, he knew he could score. He knew he was a great passer. He was also a very good shot blocker, an excellent rebounder. I can still visualize in my mind him going up high to get a defensive rebound, turning while he was in the air, outletting the ball to a perimeter player to start the fast break.
But for all his talents on the court, Walton also became well known for his unconventional lifestyle and political activism?
I want to keep striving for freedom and a more, a more decent and humane life for everyone.
Yeah, Bill.
It's like
Yeah, this, Bill was a little hippie there. You know what? He was into the trees too. You could believe that. You could believe he was into a little bit of trees. We'll fast forward a little bit.
Despite playing in only 58 games due to a foot injury. This marked the start of an 8-year odyssey in which he was constantly in and out of the game.
But the times I was able to be part of some very special teams.
In 1986, Walton had one last moment of glory as the league's 6th Man of the Year on the Boston Celtics championship team.
Coming to Boston was something that brought joy back into basketball for me.
After his playing days ended, the once shy Walton embarked on a surprising second career and blossomed as one of the sport's premier broadcasters.
At the end of this day, one of these guys is going to walk off this floor and say, today I am the greatest player in the entire world.
An Emmy Award-winning announcer, his unique sense of humor, passion, and enthusiasm for the game was always evident.
Sometimes the light falls on our heads. I don't know where this thing starts.
Bill Walton, one of the most beloved and impactful figures the sport has ever known. Named to the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams, he leaves behind a vast legacy on both the collegiate and professional levels. He will always be remembered as one of the giants of the game.
The NBA as a child, it gave me hope, opportunity, and purpose. Over the course of the long time that I've been involved here, I have added pride, loyalty, and gratitude.
Bill Walton, going 71 years old. All right. So, hey, listen, a little tribute to the man. He was all right. People liked him. There's no doubt about that. All right. The trials of Lonzo Ball. Just to look at now, he is so bad that you can read it there. He had to have a meniscus donor, and they had to reconstruct his knees, man. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. So he had to get new cartilage. And 10 years ago, they probably couldn't even do this surgery, maybe even 5 years ago. So he says he's confident that he'll be back for next season. And let's hope that he puts some sneakers on and some of the gear that he would need to stay on a court. Forget about the big baller brand. It's not meant to be. And definitely, if it is, the players in the NBA, him and his brother, they should not be the prototype for it. Not yet. If they can't make a sneaker that's sturdy enough for the cuts and the ins and out of the game. So let's just hope that he can come back and be a comeback player of the year, because he's a good player. He was a good player, and his brother is even better. He just needs to get the hell out of Charlotte, man. He's got to get out of there. Definitely, because unless they do something drastic in Charlotte, I'm sure he wish he was right now. He was PJ Washington. But they didn't need him on Dallas. Anyway, so we know about that. So best of luck to him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, he's not even an American, but dig this. Now, there's been talk from Jalen Rose and other people that the American player is going to lose ground to the foreign-born players. And the problem with Jalen Rose and everybody else, and he didn't say this, I think they say that more because those foreign players happen to be more European and white-centric. But those are not the only great stars coming from international basketball into the NBA. They might get the most play. But Murray, Gilgeous-Alexander, Siakam, there's a lot of players who are playing great basketball. Embiid, the Greek freak. These guys are are all commanding top dollar, and they're in the top echelon of the NBA right now. You know, the top 15 will have how many foreign players are in the top 15 of the NBA? Now they're saying that his new contract might guarantee him $80 million a year. The revenues of the NBA is going up, $80 million a year. Take that. Now, from what I understand, I haven't heard anything about him being, with baby mamas and doing stupid shit like some of the other idiots. But I gotta check that. I haven't. And I hope I'm hoping he's controlling his seed. Hope he's paying his taxes. I'm hope he's doing all those kind of things, because young men getting down, the IG models own the NBA dudes. So anyway, can you imagine $80 million a year for playing a basketball games for a season? And talking about load management and other horse shit like that. Can you dig it? So here's the one more thing I want to add. The commissioner he has to find a way, not find a way, he has to mandate this shit. The next NBA All-Star game has to be American-born players against the international players, because that's the only way to make that game worthwhile. Because you can't entice these guys with money. If I'm making $80 million a year, right? How are you going to entice me to make me play any harder in a stupid All-Star game unless it's for pride? Unless it's for pride. That's the only way that we could fix the NBA All-Star game. Make these assholes play for pride. That's all. Right? So that's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. That's what needs to be done. All right, Ty Lue is up for a new deal. Now, The Athletic reported that the deal for 5 years and nearly $70 million worth for 5 years of coaching. Now, I have a mixed bag. Not that he should be fired, but when are the Clippers are going to give us some shit, man, that we could feel, right? I could see them giving him $70 million if he got them to the championship game, win, lose, or draw, right? Don't you think he should at least be he's got the ring. He's been resting on that laurel for a little while. But how about bringing these guys to the Clippers over the hump, right? That's what I think we need to see. Bring the Clippers over the hump. All right, so Bronny James, the travesty of Bronny James is a couple of things. One, when he had the heart attack and he came back and he got the bill of goods to play, it's almost like everybody forgot that he had a near-death experience, and they put too much weight on his. They put too much weight on him playing, right? I think they put too much weight on him playing. That's why his year wasn't that good. They put too much weight on it. So anybody in the back, hit that like button. So now he's going to declare to go into the NBA, and he's going to get drafted. I think he'll get drafted. It could be a second round. It may go earlier if a team thinks, if the Lakers think they can it'll help them keep the LeBron James, they could always put him on the end of the bench. It's not going to cost them anything to put Bronny on the end of the bench. I'm confident about that. So I think that can happen. They just might put him on the end of the bench, keep LeBron happy, because LeBron, I think at that point, he's not going to care whether, he's going to care whether he gets another championship, but he'd much rather be on the game with his son. But here's the thing about Bronny James, and here's the thing that's really, really bad. LeBron James is responsible for putting all that pressure on this young dude. He should have never had that expectation and being so involved. If his son became a great basketball player or not, that should just have been one of the things that he did without the overt pressure that LeBron put on him, or the spotlight that LeBron put on him. And, it turns out that his younger brother actually has more size and might be a better basketball player suited for the pros than Bronny, right? Because his brother is taller, his brother can shoot, his brother can jump. And so, and I don't know how much more years he has on his brother. I think his brother just became a freshman in high school, something like that. So, so there goes. I mean, nothing's perfect. I don't want to beat up LeBron. None of us are perfect parents, but I think he, as a guy who's just a Hall of Famer, then I think the pressure he put on his son is a bit much. But I think Bronny's handling that and the criticism a little better than people want to give him credit for. So kudos to the young man. WNBA, of course, I gotta say that if there are other sports leagues, I mean, of course, there's sports talk everywhere. So I am one of those kind of guys who says, I'm going to make sure I have a couple of slides for the ladies, quote unquote, of the WNBA. So here goes. Now, the Messiah, who I call her, Caitlin Clark, who is the Messiah of the league, she has some firsts for young rookies, and they kind of make it a historical thing. But it's kind of crazy, but it's some trivia because you hear a lot of negative stories about her first few games, right? But she still reached 100 points already. She has 50 assists already. And I've seen a couple of her games. The girl can pass the basketball. The girl, her passes are athletic, precise, and the other chicks just have to catch up because some of those passes, you got to be anticipating that if you're in the right spot, she's going to get you the ball. The chick is just a good and exciting basketball player, and she needs to get props for that. And a rising tide raises all ships, and that's what she's trying to do with all these ungrateful scrags that they have in the WNBA, who don't have nary one good word to say about her. And the best thing that Caitlin can do is don't say anything. You be Jackie Robinson. Just take the shit and just keep playing basketball. Just keep playing basketball. Maybe you should have took the big three off her. And it's not too late to do that, by the way. If the women there don't want you, leave and let them go ahead and sink back down into obscurity. However, here's the thing. And I want to be fair. There's other ladies that came out of this rookie class that is changing the face of the WNBA. And everybody in the WNBA should be leaning into not only Caitlin, but all of the women who came out. Brink, that tall white girl, she's personable. She could play. And she looks like she would be a marketing genius. A marketing thing. Is so will Angel Reese. Femininity, even though she's a little too much of herself, but she's feminine. She dresses feminine. She exudes woman. So does Cameron Brink. They exude women, and a few others. So they can play this game, but they don't have to be butch about it. So it's all good. So more people want to buy tickets everywhere. And not just, and let's just be facing, more white people want to buy tickets because they want to see people they can relate to. They don't want to see somebody getting, thrown in jail in Russia because they wanted to be able to smoke weed and bring it, internationally travel with it, trading a merchant of death for and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, kudos to WNBA. Hopefully it'll last. It may or may not. And here's why it may not. Let's get to it. Here's why it may not. Because of people like Jamel Hill and, the cackling hen from The View, Hosey, whatever her name is, from The View. They always have negative things to say about Caitlin. And Jamel just took the cake. So she had something racial to say, race baiting, everything. And she said one of the problems with Caitlin Clark, or one of the things that doesn't make her popular, is because she's not homosexual, that she's a straight woman. And somehow being a naturally born straight woman is somehow a negative. I don't know how she could form her lips to say some stupid shit like that. But she did. She did. You know, whatever the context was, it should have never been brought up in no context of her negativity towards Caitlin Clark. And I don't know whether it's just for her to try to stay relative or whatever. It was the most absurd shit that I heard in a long time. And we should all be disturbed when somebody tries to shame a woman for being straight. That's one. Number two, Sunny Holston, that's the other chick. She's unbearable. And I am sorry that I've ever watched a second. I didn't watch. I saw clips of her. Every time I see a clip of her, she's saying something stupid and evil. And the last time I saw a clip of them in the View was when those cackling hens sat up there on national TV in front of millions of people and told us how much they hate men. Some of them are married. They spent 15 minutes berating, misandry, outright hatred of men on that show, and nobody said a word. I can imagine if 5 men were around the table saying anything close to what these cackling hens said about men. We've said that about women, what people would have said. Well, anyway, you know, that show is disgusting, and I don't see how it's still on TV. Well, to the rescue, believe it or not, Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James, and crazy ass, round mound of rebound, Charles Barkley, they all started saying to all these ladies, shut the F up, man. Lean into it. You got new action. You got more eyes when it comes to the WNBA. Stop focusing on these haters like Jamel Hill and some of the women of the WNBA. Lean into the new girls. Boast them up. Compete with them, of course, but keep your mouth shut about the attention these girls are getting, because that's what you want. Hey, how you doing, daughter? That's what you want. You want the rest of the world, the rest of the country, men, women, everybody to put eyes on the W. That's where you get the money from. And it seems like all you women talking about your salaries and all this bullshit don't understand that it's the eyes, it's the revenue, it's the that comes from advertising, and more people wanting to see and coming to your games. That makes you richer. You're not the NBA. You're not making billions of dollars for the league. But hey, if you lean into the new girls, that maybe one day the goddamn league will be worth $1 billion, and all of those salaries will go up. So just stop it. Stop hating. And here's a dynamic trio, and I never would thought to say that these guys all have their own haters, but the one thing they've come out with is something pro about the WNBA, and it's 3 men. There's so many women hating on the new girls, hating on their own. And we got to have men come to the rescue to tell you guys just to shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Anyway, so here's here's the conference records. It's still early in the season. I think they played 40 games or something like that. And we're just getting started. Right? But there's more attendance, there's more everything. So, kudos to the WNBA for trying to get out of the hole that they've been in for the last 20 years. All right, baseball. You know what? It's still early for baseball, so I'm not going to click the link. We're not going to say that. But the Yankees are back in first place. They're playing okay. The Mets are always where they are in the shithole somewhere. And I'm for the New York area, so that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm looking at the Yankees and the Mets. But you know what? The Yankees are regular, just like the Baltimore Ravens. The regular season doesn't mean anything to the Yankees or to like Baltimore Ravens for a corollary in football, because it's what you're going to do in the playoffs that matters, right? Are you going to the championship game this year or not, right? Who cares if the Ravens win 14 games if they get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs? You know what I'm saying? The Yankees, the same thing. They're hitting the ball out of the park, and as soon as they meet the premium pitching in the playoffs, they turn into shit. All right, hockey. See, listen, I'm covering all bases here. I'm trying to be a full service sports guy, right? And one of these days, I'm going to load up the audience with people watching my sports show. So right now, just speaking out in the diaspora, my buddies were busy this week. It's been Memorial Day week, weekend and week. People had other obligations. So you know what? I don't mind going solo. It's okay, you know? So I'm going to have to just do some more advertising, get more eyes. At 7 o'clock, there's still a lot of people working or coming home from work, but I'm not changing my time. I'm going to make this thing more personable where people want to come in. We'll make some comments and we'll start to, and I'll read all the comments on the replay and we'll go from there. And then if I get to know some folks, y'all could come up. Remember, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern, I am on the swivel at the sports bar, not just for me, but for you too. All right, so here is the standings. The Rangers are 2-2 with their Panthers, and Dallas is up 2-1. And so there's be a game tonight, a game tomorrow, and we'll just see. Hopefully the Rangers get to the championship game. It doesn't matter who they get to there. If they're in New York, I am rooting for them. So we're coming towards the end stretch of the show, where I have a segment of sports and other banter, just some things to look at. They're sports related, but I just wanted to take it out of just talking about the progress of the league and just talk about where we are. All right. The college game. And I don't know what to think about this. And you guys maybe tell me what you think. Right? Well, let's listen up for a second.
Well, for the first time in the history of college sports, tonight a deal moving forward that will let schools directly pay student athletes. This is all part of a settlement which the NCAA and its 5 power conferences will pay $2.7 billion in damages to current and former athletes. Sources telling ESPN tonight that this also includes a revenue sharing plan which will allow each school to share roughly $20 million a year with its athletes.
Well, that's pretty. It was a short thing. That was really short on purpose, just to give you a taste of what's actually going on there. And I have mixed emotions. I don't mind the NILs because I think that's what the players deserved. But when we start talking about actually paying them like they're pros, I wonder how that's going to work. And right now, it's just in the Big 5, the Power 5. So how many schools is that? 10 times 5, around 50 schools or something, so is that going to suck all the energy out of all the rest of the conferences that are out there? It seems like that. I don't know how they're going to implement this shit, but it seems like they're paying the bulk of the fine as well because of their dominance across college football. So it's going to be interesting how that works. I'm not so sure, even though I think the players deserve to get paid. I thought the NILs were better because it's like, it's how much your name is worth to the name and likeness, right? Interest and likeness. So that's more of a meritocracy. So, and it's an organic thing because it's you. Now that the schools are going to start paying people, we're not going to pay everybody the same, right? So now it's going to be some subjectivity based on who the bill payer is for the individual school. And I can see where some jealousy and some favoritism and all that kind of shit. I mean, it could really get nasty, even though the basic premise of players getting money is something I can get behind. I think if you're going to make billions of dollars, you can't tell a player that he can't put butter and cheese on a bagel because that's some kind of goddamn gratuity. right? So when a guy from UConn busted that window wide open, it never closed again because of the absurdity of them saying they were going to bed hungry because them eating was a gratuity, because it was an extra meal after they went on the road to play a game. It was ridiculous, right? So remember the PGA championship with Scottie Scheffler getting arrested? Begging a reporter, can you help me out? The cop said, hell no, he's going to jail, god dang it. You know, and it turns out the cop was an overzealous asshole. And he probably shouldn't have been. But I can still say that Scottie's probably not 100% innocent. I think he was trying to use whatever privilege he had. But I can see the anxiety of him when they get back on the course. I don't know whether he had a tee time he was going to miss or whatever it was. Now, I don't think it was that, but is there some entitlement with these goddamn highfalutin assholes? Yeah, there is. But it turns out with video evidence showed that that wasn't the case here. That wasn't the case here. The cop was a little overzealous because he didn't like the way he responded right away to his commands, I bet. So anyway, they threw the case out with prejudice. So it's not going to come up again. It's over, right? So that's cool. You can read those words there. The district judge was a chick, right? So she said, she probably looked at him and said he's handsome or some more shit. And said, you know what? This is just too much, man. We got real criminals to come after as opposed to some asshole with a golf club. And I agree. No harm, no foul. Misunderstanding is a better thing. All right, so cool. We don't need to have any scandals because of some kind of victimless crime, right? But at best, it should have been a fine in the first place, you know, at worst. Anyway, so that's that. Boxing. All right, so I mean, there's a lot. First of all, you listen. I don't know why boxing could be more if we had the right promoters and the best fighters wanted to fight each other. There are no shortage of fights coming up. No shortage of fights. And some of them are pretty good. So I cherry picked some that was good. Well, this Benevdev fight is Bivol. That's been postponed. So there's no new date for that. So that was supposed to be close. So there's no new date for that. Deontay Wilder, I'm predicting he's going to get knocked out because he's not that good anymore. Everybody's figured him out, right? So that's June 1st. That's this weekend coming up. Gervonta Davis, well, I'm going to be interested in that on the 15th. Frank Martin's not a bad fighter. So that should be a good fight. So I'm not paying no pay-per-view for none of these fights, though. They don't raise to that elevation with me. Now, Benavidez is a fighter worth fighting primarily because Canelo can't duck him more. Canelo's ducking him like crazy. He doesn't want no parts of this brother. Canelo don't want no parts of him. Now, Canelo wants $200 million. That's what he said. Because he knows right now, Benavidez in and himself, and I don't know why, can't elevate a fight to be that much. But here comes the Saudis, the sheiks. They want to see this, and these guys with their unlimited resources of oil money are saying, "Yeah, we'll put up $200 million, Canelo. Stop running," because and at that point, Canelo is going to want $250,000. Right, or more, because he knows that once he gets in the ring with this dude, this guy is fast, he hits hard, and Canelo, even though at this heavier weight, is a great fighter, I'll give him that. He needs to go into competition with somebody who will give him a better challenge. And the last challenge, well, he lost a fight to the guy. He was sleepwalking in that fight, if you ask me. I think if he fought, I forgot who he fought, but there was someone who beat him. Again, he looked like he was just sleepwalking through that fight because he didn't want to be there. He got paid anyway. And so I'm giving him an excuse, but you know, that's what it looked like to me, that he wasn't at his best game, and he wasn't on his best game because he was just bored and he didn't think he should have been in the ring with the guy in the first place. So that's that. So I would like to see Benavidez. If you want to see a fight, that David Benavidez fight, so you can see this guy in work in action, because we need more people clamoring for Canelo to get off his ass, stop drinking those Mai Tais or whatever the hell you're doing, and fight this guy for the championship before you get too old. Okay, Teofimo Lopez, this should be a good fight. He's got a nice name. Shakur Stevenson, I think he's completely overrated. Completely overrated. And I don't know this guy, Artrum. I heard the name. I'm not familiar. I might go see some of his fights to see what he looks like. Ennis, he's a good fighter. Ennis is a good fighter too. These are the welterweights and lightweights and shit. Mike Tyson just had some kind of a medical emergency that nobody knows what it was. They had to take him off a plane or some shit. And that's only 2 months away from the fight. There was a guy who came out just recently and said, this is all just a show. Mike Tyson is never going to fight Jake Paul. It's all just a publicity stunt. And because he's making money on this lead up to the fight, you know? So they're saying, so this might be the first salvo of us finding out that there's something wrong with Mike Tyson. And at his age, he's not going to be able to fight Jake Paul. So, and I hate that, because I think they need to, I think right now, there's so much energy behind them actually fighting that I don't think either one of them will get so hurt that they can't, you know, that just one fight's going to make a difference in their lives, other than making them both richer. You know, and Mike Tyson, man, you know, the guy has been his character arc is unbelievable, and everybody wants to see him beat the shit out of Jake Paul, right, at his age. And I think if he wants to really make history, he should make that fight happen. Don't pull out of that for some bullshit reason, and whatever reason why you were sick and you couldn't go on that plane. You know, hopefully it was just something temporary and not something that gives you an excuse or the medical people to say you can't fight. All right, so there's a possibility now. So there you go. And then now is Israel Madriov against Terence Crawford, and that's August. So we're going to be covered with fights from now until August. That takes us almost, you know what, mostly through the summer, or since it's August 3rd, early summer. The Mike Tyson fight, by the way, is on Netflix. And so if you have a Netflix subscription, you'll be able to see it on Netflix. But anyhow, so that's boxing. And, you know, so if you have any comments, do that. So again, here's the disclaimer for all the videos I use. I'm going to put the links to each one of those videos into the description box, so you guys can see them on replay. If you want to just go right to those links, you'll be able to do that, you know. And so, but here's a couple of things I want you to understand. Whether you're on I do these sports shows live, and what I'll ask you to do, if you go through this thing on replay, or hit that like button regardless, and make some comments on any segment that you want to talk more about. But more than that, put on your calendar that 7 o'clock Eastern on Marriage, Politics, and Sports, Art Payne, MPS 1241. Put on your calendar that there's a sports show, and join in the sports show every Wednesday. Every Wednesday I'm here at 7 o'clock. A lot of times I have my buddies up, and we sit down and we'll converse on item by item by item. If I get to know you and you want to come on the panel, if you want to be a part of the panel, I'll let you up, as long as you have an avatar, and as long as I see you first. I could bring you up, and we could talk. Make sure you ain't got no strange shit going on in the background, and we'll just kick it. You know, we'll kick it. So I'm looking forward to keep growing my channel. I mean, I'm not really stressed about any of it, you know, because things go bigger. And I don't mind going through this test drive this year. I've had this on the Swivel at the Sportsbar trademark for like 10 years. I wish I'd have known about YouTube way back when, in terms of the channels and being able to build on a platform on YouTube, because I can't imagine where I'd be right now if I was already 10 years in, but I was still working. But now I'm not. I got time to look at it. I like sports. Most of us like sports. We like talking about this shit. And nobody says you have to be Stephen A. Smith to go ahead and start talking about what you know, what you don't know, and speculating on sports. We all do. And now we have a platform to do it. So I invite you and anybody else, hey, be a part of the platform. And let's talk sports. You know what I'm saying? And so feel free. And we'll just and I like to keep these to like an hour. If I have more people, we could go over this. No, I don't have to stop. But I just want to be able to get through some of these things. Hit the major points, maybe go around table and say what's going on. And so I welcome anybody who wants to be a part of this. And even if you've seen this on replay, feel free to put some comments on this. I do have a survey also on the community tab that I would like people to go ahead and check out. It's just one question because I have a lot of different things on my channel: sports, relationships, marriage, and politics. And, some people could get overwhelmed with so many things, but I like to be able to talk a little bit about a lot of different things. So that's why I keep it so broad. If any one part of this gets so big that I say, let me split it off, I'll do that. But right now it's too early, just enjoying it. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so with that, I say to all you guys, have a good night, have a good weekend. I'll be right back here for season 1, episode 27, next week, Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time at 7 o'clock. Later. On the Swivel at the Sports Bar, and we're over and out.